Welcome, dear listeners, to History of Art. Today, we're venturing far back in time to a place where the first flickers of artistic expression illuminate the darkness of prehistory. Our focus is the Panel de las Manos, or the Panel of the Hands, found in the El Castillo cave in northern Spain. This remarkable work, nestled in the heart of Cantabria, offers us a profound glimpse into the minds of our ancient ancestors. It's not just a collection of marks on a wall. It's a testament to humanity's enduring need to leave a trace, to say, "I was here." Let's step into the cave and explore. Imagine yourself standing in the cool, damp interior of El Castillo, a labyrinth of chambers carved by nature over millennia. The air is heavy, the silence almost palpable, broken only by the faint drip of water somewhere in the distance. You hold a flickering torch, its light casting shadows that dance across the uneven limestone walls, and there before you is the Panel of the Hands, a constellation of human handprints stenciled in red and black pigment, pressed against the rock some 40,000 years ago. These are not mere decorations. They are voices from the deep past, speaking in a language we can only begin to understand. What strikes you first is their immediacy. These handprints are not abstract or symbolic in the way we might expect from later art. They are direct, almost urgent. Someone, perhaps a man, perhaps a woman, perhaps even a child, placed their hand against this wall, blew pigment through a hollow reed or bone, and left an imprint that has endured for tens of thousands of years. It's as if they reached across time to touch us. The hands vary in size, some large and broad, others slender, suggesting a community, a group of people who stood here together, creating something collective. Were they marking territory, performing a ritual, or simply playing with the materials they had, ochre, charcoal, and their own breath? Let's pause on that thought. Their breath. There's something extraordinarily intimate about the technique used here. The stencils were created by blowing pigment over the hand, meaning the artist's breath, the very essence of their life, was part of the process. It's a visceral connection to the act of creation. You can almost feel the air moving through that ancient reed, the soft puff of breath scattering pigment across the rock. It's a reminder that art at its core is an extension of the human body, a way of externalizing something internal: thought, identity, presence. The Panel of the Hands is part of a broader tradition of hand stencils found in caves across the world, from Sulawesi in Indonesia to Patagonia in Argentina. But El Castillo's examples are among the oldest, dated to around 40,800 years ago, placing them in the Upper Paleolithic period. This was a time when Homo sapiens shared the European landscape with Neanderthals, and there's a tantalizing question here: who made these hands? Recent studies suggest that some of the earliest cave art might have been created by Neanderthals, challenging our assumptions about their cognitive abilities. Could the Panel of the Hands be the work of our evolutionary cousins? The evidence is inconclusive, but the possibility is thrilling. It suggests that the impulse to create, to mark one's existence, might be older and more universal than we ever imagined. What's so compelling about these handprints is their ambiguity. Unlike the later paintings of bison, horses, or deer found elsewhere in El Castillo, the hands don't depict a story or a hunt. They don't represent something external. They represent the self. Each hand is a signature, a declaration of individuality. Yet, placed together on the panel, they also suggest community, a shared act of creation. Were these people marking a sacred space? Was this a ritual site, a place where they connected with the spiritual world? Or was it more prosaic, a way of saying, we were here in this cave on this day? We can't know for sure, but that uncertainty is part of the allure. The hands invite us to speculate, to imagine the lives of those who made them. Let's consider the materials for a moment. The pigments used, red ochre and black charcoal, are among the earliest known in art. Ochre, a natural iron oxide, was ground into powder and mixed with water or saliva to create a paint-like substance. Charcoal, likely from burned wood, provided the darker tones. These materials were not easy to come by. They required knowledge of the landscape, an understanding of where to find ochre deposits or how to prepare charcoal. This wasn't a casual act. It was deliberate, planned, a process that demanded skill and intention. The choice of colours, red and black, also feels significant. Red, the colour of blood, of life. Black, the colour of night, of mystery. Together they create a visual rhythm across the panel, a dialogue between light and shadow. The panel of the hands is not alone in El Castillo. The cave is a treasure trove of prehistoric art with over 3,000 individual motifs, dots, lines, animals and more. Some of these, like the red disc nearby, are even older, dating back to 41,000 years. But the hands stand out for their simplicity and their humanity. They don't require us to interpret complex narratives or decipher symbolic meanings. They are immediate, relatable. A hand is a hand, whether it's pressed against a cave wall 40,000 years ago or raised in greeting today. It's a universal gesture, one that transcends time and culture. Yet, for all their universality, the hands also raise questions about difference. Analysis of the hand sizes and shapes suggests that some may belong to women or adolescents. This challenges the old stereotype of prehistoric art as the domain of male hunters. Perhaps the cave was a space for the whole community, men, women, children, coming together to create something enduring. The idea of women as artists in prehistory is particularly fascinating. In many ancient societies, women were the gatherers, the ones who likely knew where to find ochre or other resources. Could they have been the primary creators here? It's a possibility that adds richness to our understanding of these early societies. Let's step back for a moment and consider the context of El Castillo itself. The cave is part of the Cantabrian Mountains, a rugged landscape that was home to some of the earliest modern humans in Europe. These were people living in a world of ice and uncertainty, at the tail end of the last ice age. Survival was not guaranteed, food was scarce, predators were a constant threat, and the climate was harsh. Yet, in the midst of this struggle, they found time to create art. Why? What drove them to venture deep into a cave, to face the darkness and the unknown, to leave these marks? It's tempting to see this as a purely spiritual act, a way of connecting with forces beyond the material world. But it could also be an act of defiance, a refusal to be erased by time or hardship. The hands also remind us of the fragility of this art. El Castillo's paintings have survived because the cave's environment is stable, cool, dark, and sealed from the elements. But they are vulnerable to human interference. In the 20th century, when the caves were first opened to the public, the influx of visitors brought heat, humidity, and bacteria, threatening the paintings. Today, access is tightly controlled, and we rely on photographs and replicas to share these works with the world. It's a poignant reminder that our desire to connect with the past can sometimes endanger it. As we linger on the panel of the hands, I want to draw your attention to one final detail: the negative space. These are not painted hands, but stencils defined by the absence of pigment. The hand itself was the barrier, the thing that stopped the paint from reaching the wall. In a way, this makes the hands even more powerful. They are defined by what is not there, by the void left behind. It's a metaphor for human existence itself. Our presence is fleeting, but the marks we leave, the spaces we shape, endure. The panel of the hands is not just an artifact. It's a conversation. It speaks to us across millennia, asking us to consider who we are, what we value, and what we hope to leave behind. It reminds us that art is not a luxury or an afterthought, but a fundamental part of being human. These hands, pressed against a cave wall in a time so distant it's almost unimaginable, are a bridge to our ancestors. They tell us that, like them, we are creators, storytellers, seekers of meaning. As we leave the cave and step back into the light of the present, let's carry that thought with us. The Panel de los Manos is a reminder that art is not confined to galleries or museums. It begins in the simplest gestures, a hand, a breath, a mark on a wall, and it continues in every act of creation, every moment we choose to say, I am here,